What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So there's a lot of information out there when it comes to reversing aging on shoes, how to whiten them if they're yellow or deoxidize, but I want to do the opposite of that today. Today we're going to learn how to prematurely age soles and add that yellow oxidized vintage look to them. For those of you that are new, this is Vintage Kicks Gallery. Alright, so we're going to be doing this on a pair of 1985 UNC ones that I sole swapped, and we're going to need a few things for this. We're going to need Salon Care 40, candle wax dye, and I prefer ivory color, some tape, some vinyl tape, a paintbrush, gloves, which are super important, and some plastic wrap. So this dye is potent, guys, really potent, and I really recommend wearing gloves. So let me see if I can fit in these. Oh man, it's like an OJ style. That's gonna be tough. All right, yeah, this is a little awkward, but we'll get through it. Come on, there we go. So we're going to get started by taping off the outsole of these and the uppers. And to do the outsole, we're going to use the vinyl tape that's available through Angelus. And then we're going to use our standard Scotch for the uppers. So this sole tape is really great, guys. I don't know if you're believers in it or not, but I use it all the time. It's a little expensive. You don't have to buy it through Angelus, but that's been the best that I've encountered. I think it's about double the price of regular tape. So when doing this, the awesome part about it is you can kind of stretch the tape around the surface and you get a really good seal and a really tight line when you do that. And if you were doing this with regular tape, you'd probably have to keep cutting it and taping it back and forth. This is just a lot easier. So let me get this on here nice and quick. Right. Not the easiest to tape when you're wearing rubber gloves, by the way. All right, I've got that down on the outsole. Now we're going to do the same for the uppers, but we're going to use our standard Scotch white tape. Nice clean line. All right, we don't have to be perfect on the uppers. We are going to be careful when we apply the dye, but we still want to make sure we get the tape on this leather because this dye is super potent. And I'm sure you could use leather dye on this, but I just feel that industrial candle wax dye is probably the most potent dye I've ever used. So when it comes to rubber soles, that's what we need. All right, little tip for those of you that are doing this at home, tape off before you put the gloves on. That was awkward and difficult when it shouldn't have been. All right, so I have this stuff mixed with a 80-20 ratio. So it's 80% Salon Care 40 and 20% of this wax dye. And this stuff is potent. It's gonna go on a super dark brown. Don't worry though, these soles are gonna absorb it over the next day or so, and we're gonna have a really good ivory oxidized color when they're finished. So make sure you don't drip any of this on the uppers. If it gets on there, it's staying on there, and we're just going to brush a nice even coat on. And guys, this stuff is gonna scare you. Like I said, it is brown when it goes on, but don't worry, it dries a ivory, nice almond color. I promise the color's good. In fact, I'll show you what they look like when they're dry. So the whole key when brushing this is to just apply a nice even coat. We don't want it too blotchy. A little blotchy is okay because after all, oxidation kind of has that look over, anyway. But we don't want to have it too clumped up in any one area. And let me see here. I gotta be really careful with the upper. And when you move the shoe around, try to move it with the taped sections because again, you don't want to get this anywhere besides the sole. So if you do get a clump, the only thing that's going to happen is it's going to be slightly darker there, which, as I said, that's okay. I mean, it's not always even when it comes to aging. And I'm going to use this to grip the upper, turn this around. This is much easier to do when the soles are already off the shoe. However, I didn't have this dye when I did this sole swap, so we're doing it now. Better late than never. And these really deserve an aged sole because this white sole on these beautiful 85 uppers was just not looking good. All right, that's a good enough coat, and let me seal this back up. I did get a little on the table, so that's gonna be a new permanent addition to the set here. And I'm going to remove these gloves and switch over to the plastic wrap. And what we're trying to do here is the same as when we put Salon Care 40 on. We just want to lock in that moisture so the dye has a lot of time to soak into these soles. And once we do this, we're going to allow them to sit for a good 8 hours, and then we'll come back, remove the excess dye, and they'll be finished. Just want to cover this up, let it stick to the sides. This is where that taped off uppers really come in handy. Twist this off. All right, guys, we'll set a timer, come back in 8 hours, and we're gonna take a look at how much it's soaked in, remove the excess dye, and do a reveal. And here's a little sneak preview. This is what they look like when they're done. So they have a perfectly aged look. And this was done about a week ago. It just kept getting lighter over there at the 2 days that followed, and it's really an accurate aged look. So these will be just like it. All right, see you guys in 8 hours. Well guys, I gave them about 18 hours, and from the look of it, this dye is about done absorbing. So let's get this off here. These are definitely fully dry. And go on to the final steps. So right now the color is about 3 to 4 shades darker than it's going to be when it's complete. So So these are gonna go ahead and lighten over the next 48 hours, and I will show you pictures of that at the very end. But take a look. All right, so here we are, and as you can see, there's a little bit of blotchiness here, and that's okay. That's going to even out over time, over the next 48 hours. So what we wanna do at this stage is get any excess or topical dye off, and we're gonna do that with a rag. You can use a wet rag, you can use just pressure and go over it with a microfiber cloth. You can use acetone if you're feeling really wily, but the bottom line is you wanna make sure you do this until the rag is no longer getting the ivory dye off on it. And the longer you wait, the less dye is going to initially come off. So very little, if any, is gonna come off right now. But if you would have pulled this off, say 4 hours in, this rag would be completely ivory. So, what do you think? I mean, they look pretty good. I'm very happy with them. That's a big improvement over where they were. Take a look at this top area. See where the darker areas are, and it looks like the old factory glue. That is actually where there was glue remnants on the sole from the sole swap. They darken up like that. So to remove those, we would use a high grit sandpaper, or we would use acetone, easily removable. However, I really like that look. I think it gives them an authentic 85 look. After all, most of the 85s at this point had the oxidized glue. So I'm leaving that. I think that gives them a really original look, and I couldn't be happier. All right, guys, stay tuned. I'll post these pictures up for 48 hours from right now. Boom, 48 hours later, and here we go. I couldn't be happier, guys. They lightened up, as you can see, about 3 shades. This is the final color they're going to settle on, and if you wanted it darker, you could go ahead and repeat this process, but I really like the shade that they are. I think that is a really, really good OEM 1985 look, and again, this will work on any soles that are rubber. Just make sure you clean them ahead of time. To recap what we did, we mixed Salon Care 40 with candle wax dye. We applied it with a brush. We wrapped it in plastic. We waited, almost a full 24 hours. I think these were 18, and then gave it 2 days to kind of air out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I will put some links to the products we used. See you next time.